Hello, I'm Rick Stivers of YoungMartin'sReels. Today's project is going to be this Johnson Tangle Free 10 reel. And we're going to see if we can get this one cleaned up. This is another one that's going over to the church for the fidget spinner bags. And we're going to start off by taking the end cap off. And yeah, it's pretty dirty inside. And let's see here. Let's go ahead and let's get the rotor off. There we go. And yeah, that's pretty dirty inside too. So now we're gonna move over and take off the handle. All right, we're gonna take off the nut for the handle. Well, at least that's what we want to do. Oh, that was really tight. Okay. And now we'll take the handle off. And let's go ahead and take off the drag adjuster star. And the tension washer. And there's one more washer down here we're going to take off. Okay, it's a D-ring washer. I don't know how well you can see that. Let's see. Zoom in on that. Okay, it's a D-ring washer. It goes underneath this tension washer. Okay. At that point, we'll go ahead and slide the back half off, which I believe we could have done that before we took any of the handle stuff off, once the nose was off. And let's see what we got to do here. See if it's possible to slide this axle shaft out. Yep, it is. That's what I like about Johnsons. Every Johnson I've encountered, for the most part, you've been able to take apart this way. Let's zoom back out and let's take that back out. Okay, all I did was simply, well, it was wound in like so, and all I did was pulled it out the back like so. Okay, this one hasn't been that long, I don't think, since it was serviced. The grease is still somewhat pliable. All right, this rotor, okay, it almost looks like it's part of it, but it's not. Okay, let's go ahead and see if we can slip it off. There we go. There's the clip, and then the rotor should slide off. All right. Now this rotor does not rotate in drag mode. It's going to rotate inside here, inside the skier. Okay, let's take this out. And if we look, we will see this is our anti-reverse. See that hole right there? Well, that hole is where this little arm here is going to fit into when we put it all back together. Let's see if this will come out or if it's staked. Okay, it appears to be staked in, so we're going to leave it in there. I have found that's usually best. If they're staked, leave them alone. Okay, we got this to this point. We should be able to slide this off. The shaft's pretty corroded and rusty. That's our drag adjustment right there. See how corroded the threads are on that? That's not going to make for a very smooth adjusting drag. Okay, now there's a drag washer here, but man, is that a thin drag washer. It may disintegrate when we go to take it apart. Let's take a look. Wow. That is pretty much paper thin. If possible, we're going to see if we can find a new drag washer for that. Okay, then this will slide out from the inside. There's our shaft. And let's see what we got in here for a drag washer. Again, super thin. But there doesn't appear to be any old, worn out material inside, so maybe they were that way to begin with. All right, so this has the whole thing taken apart. All the parts are laying here now, and we're going to go through, scrub up all the parts, and in a minute, for you, it'll be momentarily, I'll be back with all nice clean parts ready to assemble. All right, one thing I found upon beginning to disassemble or clean was that this assembly here was still inside over here. Okay, so there's a sleeve that goes in over here, and then this piece, this keyed piece with the curve, was installed inside that sleeve, like so. Okay, and if you look, this curve on this piece, so if you have any doubts as to how it goes in, let's go ahead and slide that drag bar off. If you have any doubt about how this piece fits, look at it like this. Okay, as the drag is applied, that's going to tighten and loosen. Okay, all right, so now I'm going to go back and clean all the pieces parts, and we'll come back with clean parts. All of the parts have been cleaned and inspected, and I think we're ready to start putting things back together again. The first thing that we're going to have to notice is that this piece right here is on this axle shaft, or main gear shaft, and I don't know that it can come off, but I'm not going to take it off. I'm going to leave it on. I've already scrubbed it all up with it in place. And notice this arm right here. We're going to add just a hair of bend on that, just a little, not much. And the reason being is I want that to grab tightly in there when it's time. Okay, I was unable to locate any replacement drag washers for these, and so we're going to go ahead and use them. Put them back in here. We are not going to add any lubricant to these. We're going to leave them so that they can grab as tightly as they can. And we're going to slide that one on here, and then this is going to slide up inside here, like so. Now when this goes in, this arm has got to drop down into the cavity like that, so that now it can go one way, but it can't turn the other way. All right. There we go. Okay, we're going to set that down. We're going to slide the next drag washer on. It's the one that goes on the back side right here. And this one will, this assembly here will slide down over the top of it. Before it goes in though, it's got to have this piece installed on it. And it wedges down on there like so. And it should not spin much. It will spin a little bit, but not much. Okay, it's got to be able to grab. Okay, we're going to set that down inside there now, like so. Okay, and then when this is pulled down tight, all that will lock in, and this arm right here is going to fit into that pin right there, that pinhole right there. Okay, now we're going to slide this sleeve in, and we're going to take and grease the sleeve on the outside here, and we're going to slide it in to the hole like so. And then we've got this assembly, and we're going to go ahead and grease it as well. Slide it in to that same sleeve like so. And now that leaves us with putting this piece back inside there and getting it to tighten down. But before we do that, we're going to add a little bit of grease here onto there, and then we're going to grease the end of this where that curve fits down inside there. Okay, so now we've got to get this to go in. This flat on this axle assembly or gear assembly shaft has got to fit onto the flat inside there. See that? Okay, so we've got to line that up with that and then slide it all together. Once we get it close, then bring it around over here, and we're going to get that arm right there to fit inside that pinhole right there, and then push it in. Okay, once you've got that done, and you can come back and install this D-washer on the flat, like so. Okay, then you can put the tension washer on with the curved lips pointing up. And now you can go ahead and tighten your drag washer down, like so. And now that will turn. Okay, we'll leave it just like that for the moment. Okay, that's going to bring us down to the axle shaft. Now the axle shaft, this has got to be able to slide on here. If it's unable to slide up and down, then you're going to have to dismantle by taking the spring loose here, which on this particular one would be a real pain in the tail. And we don't want to do that if we can help it. But this one is already moving. So what we're going to be able to do is put some grease on the axle shaft under the spring, pull the spring back a little bit so that grease gets up underneath it, and then we're going to go ahead and grease up this pinion gear. With that done, add a little bit of grease to the shaft, like so. And now I'm going to back this back out a little bit. Now we're going to take this and insert it right back up inside here, like so, and slide it down right to there. And then it will stop. Okay. At that point, we're going to take the button assembly, and we're going to look back here, and if you look right there, there is a place that's going to ride against that axle shaft assembly to push it forward. And we're going to put a little grease on the end of that so it can slide easily. And then we're going to turn this and slide it up inside here like so. Okay, and then if you hold it really good and tight, you should be able to push that fore and aft. Okay, with that done, we're going to come back. We're going to set our spool back in place. Now, if you look, you got, see this post right here? Well, you've got post holes on the rotor, or sorry, spool. I keep calling these things rotors, and they're not. Okay, rotate this around, set it down in place, and turn it until that locks into that post, and that's where it's going to lock. Then we're going to slide this clip back on like so. And we are getting close. The next thing to do is we're going to take our rotor and we're going to add some grease up under the rotor. And we're going to put a little oil over here at the pivot point, like so. And then if you look at this rotor, the way it's made, okay, it's sliding on the case, but you can't really get into it to put grease there. So we're going to put some oil under it, like so. And we're going to put a little bit of oil on the spring itself to help keep it from corroding. All right. Then we're going to line the D in that rotor up with the flat spot on the axle shaft and set that back in place, like so. With that done, we're going to tighten down the nut. Don't get carried away with it. Just snug it up for the moment, okay? Because we're going to take and we're going to hold this down and we're going to push the button up and we're going to rotate this and it should come out, which it did. Push it again, make sure it goes in, which it did. Rotate it again. Now, let's make sure that the rotor's tight, and it is. With that done, we're going to take the line, slide it through the cap, and set the cap in place. Tighten it down. Okay, now we're going to loosen the drag. Loosen it some more. There we go. Now we'll tighten it down until it's just snagging. That's good. Okay, we'll put the handle back on. Line up the flat spot. Put the flat spot in the D on the handle. And let's put the nut back on. Okay, tighten the nut down. There we have it. We have the Johnson Graphite Tangle Free 10 reel. And that's a sweet little reel. I'd be very happy to go fishing with that. But it's on its way to the church. And some little kid will have that to play with for a while until he decides that, hey, I'd like to keep that one and take it fishing, in which case he can have it and take it fishing. So for now, if you like what you saw here today, please hit the like button. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike button. Tell me what you didn't like, and we'll see if we can do something about that. And if you would like to see further videos like this, hit the subscribe button. And for now, that's Rick Stivers of the YoungMartin'sReels, signing out.